Hey everyone, welcome to Financial Revelations. I am David Szafranski, your host. As always, it's been raining in Cleveland for the last 100 days. I am building an ark. Corey's going to put all my contact information running underneath of me. And I talked to somebody last week and says, wait a minute, you do video for the podcast? I'm like, yeah, we talk about the things running underneath me. How would you see that if it was just audio? So come on, people, I need more out of you. Anyway, for those listening, it's Skibucks1 at Twitter. You can email Corey at epsf.com. You can call here. There's an 800 number. I mean, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to get a hold of me. I'm not giving you my cell phone number, although when I write it on a bathroom wall, I write for a good rate of return call, not for a good time, for a good rate of return. Hey, I wrote a book, Sin of Retirement, The Sin of Retirement. You can go to sinofretirement.com, and not only can you buy the book there, but you can buy merch. So t-shirts that say, I love stepped up basis. And you say, well, what does that mean? It doesn't matter. Buy the t-shirt. You can buy coffee cups that say, I suck at investing. So you can remind yourself every single morning why you have your money here and not in your own Fidelity account where it's earning like 1%. You can also go to Amazon. We've got an eBook. We've got an audiobook. It's all there. Missions trip in March, +1. There's going to be another one next year too, because we have so many people that want to go, and I want you to go. It's the trip itself is not a fundraising event. We don't charge $10,000 to go. The trip pays for itself. That's what we want to do. We'll make sure that the mission doesn't get left holding the bag on costs. So there are costs to go. But call me if you want to go on that missions trip. We want to make sure you're right for the trip, for one thing. So, for instance, if you have a heart condition, probably not the best trip to go on. So there are some medical things that we would look at. So let's get to the business of business, which is the business of America, is business, of course. There's a rate cut coming next week, plus one more this year. So there's going to be 2 more rate cuts this year. I think there's going to be 2 rate cuts early next year. I think there is a complete possibility that mortgage rates by the next real mortgage season, the next selling season in real estate, there is a real estate season. Do you really want to go look at a house in, let's say, January, when there's 4 feet of snow on the ground in Ohio? No, of course not. Now, people do sell houses in January and all throughout the year, but the real season is probably more like March, April, probably April, starting through June, like June, July, so you can get in the house before kids go back to school. They're just things like that. So I think there's a really good chance that you could have sub 5% mortgage rates by then. That's my prediction. Lauren, who I was on the radio with, has like a 28% mortgage. So she's really excited about this because the bank is probably buying vacation properties off of her mortgage. And so rate cuts coming. There's more coming. Why? Because Chair Powell wants to go out on a bang. He doesn't want to go out under the bane of Donald Trump. He wants to go out with Donald Trump saying nice things. And I think there's a really strong likelihood that that is going to happen. So, yeah, there's more rate cuts coming. And that means in the stock market, risk assets are going to be more valuable. So we're staying invested. Now, something did happen this week that we haven't seen happen yet. The Trump administration really ramped up pressure on Russia and sanctioned their oil, mainly their oil complex. And there's going to be secondary sanctions on countries that buy oil from Russia. One of the big ones is India. Now, India is a friend of ours. There's no doubt about this. Now, they did kind of like, they got involved in this BRIC nations currency thing. That's not really serious. Nobody takes it serious. They don't even take it seriously. But, 4 years ago, Just think about this. 4 years ago, India bought no oil from Russia, and we begged them to buy oil from Russia. Now we're begging them not to. So they're kind of in between a rock and a hard place, and I think they're going to play ball with us. They like us. We like them. They're a big country. They're a nuclear power. They have a lot of things that they can do for us that China currently does that we don't want China to do anymore. So it makes sense for us to be friends with India. And we'd like to be friends with India. They're a little rough on Christians right now, so we'd like to see that change. But we're putting pressure, some pretty heavy pressure, on Russia right now to end this war in Ukraine. Now, Russia does not negotiate in good faith. They never have. But the problem with Russia that we're seeing today really started in 2014 when the Obama administration allowed them to walk into Crimea and didn't do anything. They basically opened the door and kind of whetted the appetite of Russia to take back Ukraine. And that's what Russia really does want, and who knows where it would stop. There are going to be some market adjustments around this. And, there's economic pressure coming. You're going to see oil prices increase because they do produce oil. And so if you're taking their oil off the market or you're making it hard for countries to buy it, they're going to have to buy from other countries. And that unless we're increasing our supply, Saudi is, but there's going to be some dislocation. So when I say dislocation, it's like the dentist saying you're going to feel some pressure. What happens when the dentist says you're going to feel some pressure? It hurts like crazy. And now, is it going to hurt like crazy economically? I don't think so, but you're going to feel it a little bit. So, and it's a big week, really, in global economics, because not only are we putting pressure on Russia, but there's a good chance we're going to put some increased pressure on China, because we're over in Malaysia negotiating with China's trade representatives, and we're going to put pressure on China. There's no doubt about it. We're going to tighten the screws on China for a couple of reasons. One, China's economy is really extremely weak right now, mainly because of tariffs. And they have an upside down, think of a triangle, where you have like the pyramid. So you have the pyramid start at the top and they've got a wide base at the bottom. Well, if you were to take China's population, it is turning that pyramid upside down, where they have a very small amount of population that is young and an extremely large amount of the population that is 65 plus. That does not bode well for China in any fashion. One, it increases their cost dramatically, because think of how we use healthcare. When you're young, you're invincible. You never go to the doctor. When you're old, it seems like every appointment is a doctor's appointment. Not that I'm old. I'm 45-ish, so I don't go to the doctor. But that's what China has. And so they cannot get people to have babies because they did such a good job of convincing people not to have babies for so long. People think it is unpatriotic to have kids, to have a big family. And so they have a real problem in China. So they've got a population problem. They've got a manufacturing problem where their manufacturing is weak right now. And we're about to put screws to them. President Xi, I have heard this said. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but it might just be fear-mongering. President Xi does not want to leave the country because they don't think they'll let him back in. That's how weak President Xi is right now. I find that hard to believe, but, with communists, we never really know. It's kind of like with Russia. You think they're negotiating in good faith, but they never are. This we do know. So China negotiated a trade deal with us. They never bought the soybeans they promised. They don't negotiate. You cannot trust communists. I think that's the lesson here. So there's only one way to deal with communism, and that is harshly. And that is how we should be dealing with it. We finally have a president that understands what it means to be an American and to have the leverage that we have. Now, are there things that China could make tough on us? Yeah, there is. There's no doubt that there is. But we hold 90% of the cards in this. We do. And we're about to take away a few of the cards that China does hold, which is rare earths. So these materials that we use in magnets, in semiconductors, in military grade stuff. I was in the military, so whenever somebody says military grade, I always want to just get a little clarity on that because everything in the military is made by the lowest bidder. So keep that in mind. But some of the most complex weapons we have use rare earth materials. We just signed a deal with Australia, which has a lot of rare earth materials, and we have a lot of them here. We just when we went to the New Green Deal type economics and politics, they stopped mining. We want to do dirty stuff in other places. They don't mind if kids dig for rare earth in Africa, by the way. They mind if we do it here, but they still want to buy electric cars. It's the biggest fallacy. It's the biggest lie we've told in a long time. Global warming, New Green Deal, both lies. So it is going to be a big week for this because if we don't get the deals that we want from China, if they don't play ball, then we're going to play hardball. And if we do that, there will be some dislocation. So I want to get the 3 questions I have this week. One is cryptocurrency, the big sell-off. I have kind of come around a little bit on cryptocurrency, but I still think it's the greater fool's theory, where if I buy it, I got to find somebody who is more foolish than me to buy it from me. There's no use case scenario for it. You can't buy anything with it. I understand how we're coming out with what's called secure coins, or banks are coming out with these coins for bank coins that are tied to the dollar. That's something totally different. And it does allow for a quick transfer that's cheaper than using like a PayPal or somebody else. That does make sense to me, but we don't know who invented Bitcoin. What if it turns out to be Vladimir Putin? I mean, it could, right? We don't know. Maybe the CIA probably knows. It probably was the CIA, but I don't know that for sure because they wanted to track drug dealers and despots around the world and where they were sending their money. But you really couldn't track it at the beginning because if you bought a coin and you put it on a digital wallet, we could just transfer it through digital wallets like hard drives. But there was a big sell-off. It is kind of continuing back and forth a little bit. I don't mind owning some digital currencies. Make it 5% of your portfolio and expect it to go away. That's what I would tell you. If you make money on it, take some profits. That's something that I would take profits on relatively quickly. I have a qualified charitable distribution question. What is a QCD? So a QCD is if you have an IRA and you're in required minimum distribution status. So it could be 70 and a half. If it's an older one, it could be 73. If you're in required minimum distribution status and you're giving charitably out of your checkbook, stop that and give through QCDs because you pay no tax on that money. And you can give to a qualified charity right from your IRA, doesn't come to your checkbook first. It goes right to the charity, gets mailed to them, and you pay no tax. So it's a great way to give. So you can save some money. You can bump up your charitable giving quite a bit because you're not paying tax on the money now. So if you're giving out of your checkbook, you're giving after-tax money. If you're giving out of a QCD, you're giving pre-tax money. That's a better option, and the government doesn't get it. The only way to get government to stop spending money as much, doesn't matter who the politician is, Republican, Democrat, independent. I don't really believe in independence, but the only way to get them to spend less is to give them less. It's the only way. And even then, they still spend the same amount. So the last question is on Beyond Meat. So, these Beyond Burgers and Beyond Sausage, and it's a lab-grown. Stuff is horrible. It's horrible for you. It's full of chemicals. Well, they were a horrible investment from the beginning, but they did spike a little bit, and the chart's been basically upper left to lower right. That's not where you want to go. You want to be opposite, lower left to upper right. It's been an ugly chart from the beginning, but they've turned into a meme stock where, like, on the month, they're up 100% or something like that. I don't know, is a pretty big number. But they've been abysmal from almost day one. And that's where they're going to be. They're going to be abysmal. I don't like this company. I would not buy it. If you're buying it for like a quick trade or something like that, get your profit and go. Just be happy that you made a profit off of this stuff. And, you know, there was a time, Bill Gates still talks about this. Bill Gates, what is Bill Gates worried about? Cow farts. That's what Bill Gates is worried about. What should Bill Gates be worried about? His waistline. He's kind of a slob. And he wants you to eat. He doesn't want you to be able to eat beef. He wants you to eat lab-grown meat. And, you know, if somebody is coming to me and they're like, hey, I'd like you to try my diet plan, but I'm fat. Okay, the person telling me about their diet plan, they're not in good shape. I'm not going to listen to their diet plan. If they come to me and they're like, hey, I exercise, I eat right, I do this, maybe you should try it. And I look at them and I see their life. And I say, well, you know, maybe they might have a point. Look at them. They're in pretty good shape. What I don't want to do is I don't want dogma. You know, like if you're not at the gym at 5 a.m, you're a loser. I don't want that in my life. I want to be able to, on Saturdays, I kind of try and sleep in. I don't, but I try. I get up at like 4:30 every morning. I can't help it. I try and sleep later. It's just not in the cards for me. 4:30, 5 o'clock. I read. I do go to the gym every day. I like it though. I love exercising. I sit behind a desk most days when I'm not traveling. I do golf, and my game was really good this year, but I need exercise. It helps, gives me clarity. It's where I get good ideas. I had one today, as a matter of fact, and it wasn't just gas. It was actually a good idea. But that's what Bill Gates is worried about. He's worried about cow farts and lab-grown meat. Ignore everything he says. Everything he says, we should ignore and do the exact opposite. So there's a few people in my life where, and Bill Gates is not in my life, but there's a few people that are part of it, you know, my walk, or I read about them, and whatever they say to do, I do the exact opposite. He's one of the guys. So the book, get the book, read the book. I just got a great email today about the book. Somebody I know read it, and a person that I have a high degree of respect for, they're sending me back quotes from the book, and I love this line, and I love that, and that makes me happy. I want you to have the book. I want it to change your outlook of how retirement. I'm not saying don't retire. What I'm saying is change your outlook. Make it so it's something positive. So you're building back into people. That's what I want you to do. I am David Szafranski, a real American, a true red-blooded patriot, and the voice you can trust.